Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video. Today we're going to watch the Journey Ahead showcase, which was not the longest, but did reveal a good amount of information, including some potentially big news, even if they're keeping some of it under wraps. Let's begin.
Episodes are telling singular stories that stand on their own, that are also building up mysteries for the future of Destiny.
For the episodes, we introduced this single object of immense power. An echo is a direct result of the battle with the Witness.
All of the darkness that was holding it together exploded out, colliding with the matter-making properties of light, manifesting all of these different memories inside of the Witness.
This collision of darkness and light created this explosion, and so these echoes spread across.
Okay, so this is where we ended the campaign, where we kill the Witness, and then we're sitting on the little bench or whatever outside the Witness, which is radiating an aurora, and then we see these little things shoot out of it. That seemed obviously like something that was going to be of significance, but now we know that they are echoes, which is the name of the first episode. Echoes are literal objects, and they are saying they're sort of remnants of the Witness's memory. So anyway, that means they're powerful objects. Here they're showing way more than 3 coming out. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We only saw 3 come out of the Traveler when we were watching it, and then they will talk a little bit more about where they go. I guess this may indicate that more echoes are to come, maybe, but we'll see.
Across the galaxy.
The first echo that we encounter landed on Nessus. What they find there is that this echo has transformed the planet, awoken it into something it's really not supposed to be.
So we go down to Nessus, and we immediately realize that the Vex are acting a little strange. So we work with Failsafe and the...
All right, so we've kind of known this beforehand, because if you just look at like any of the triumphs, it's like talking about ranking up your Failsafe reputation, and so they are going to be the main vendor here. I hope that they got the original voice actors. Are there 2 voices? Because there's 2 parts of her. I'm very curious what she makes of kind of all recent events. She was kind of one of the main, quote, comedy NPCs besides Cade for Vanilla, and it's really interesting that we're coming back to her. This is the armor set, which I'm not like in love with some of it, but it's like I do sort of love the general idea of Vex Samurai. The Hunter has a katana cloak, for instance. I do love all the helmets. I think those are very cool. The rest of it, I don't know. Maybe it needs a new shader, but it's okay.
The first activity, Breach Executable. And this is a 3-player activity, arena style, kind of offensive that we haven't really done before. We've got these big, cool, like geysers of radiolaria that explode out of the ground, and you need to cap them off while you're keeping...
As if we needed Radiolarian Vex smoke to be any more sexualized, but here we are. Explosions of Radiolaria. Okay.
The enemies at bay.
Things that have only existed in the Vex net are now coming out into the real world. You're going to see that, like, Nessus is different now.
As we get deeper and deeper towards the core, it really starts to become very apparent.
So you're going to go down into these landmarks, and you're going to unearth the ancient secrets of a lost civilization.
So this is interesting. This is kind of where things get a little more real in depth. Like I'm okay with a 3-man activity doing whatever, plugging up geysers and whatnot. This idea of a ancient Vex civilization, I assume it's Vex, what else would it be, is a cool concept. I wonder if we're going to be going inside places that, I hope it's not just like old campaign spaces. I hope they've designed some kind of brand new spaces for this. Sort of the conceit with Echoes is that, there's only 3 of them, but they're supposed to be longer and more involved. So I think they do kind of have to be held to a higher standard of the kind of breadth of content that they bring. Destiny Seasons did have a ton of content in them lately. It's just, I think they really do have to sort of deliver on these episodes to make it clear that this idea of these disconnected stories is actually the correct way forward here, and that it's not just like, we just decided to cut out the small season, and that's sort of all it is. I am kind of heartened by this whole video that is not what's happening, but we'll see.
We have a mysterious new enemy, and they are able to do things that we have not encountered in an enemy.
What's going on here? Okay, so we have seen the cover arts for this, where it's like a giant Vex person that looks like a woman who's kind of got like harpy wings on her head. The prevailing theory is that this is Maya Sundaresh, who has sort of been lost to the Vex for a while now, if you have at all been keeping up with the lore of the Veil. If you have not, I would not blame you, but that does seem to be kind of what's directly tied in here. I would be surprised if it was not her. I think that could be a really interesting exploration. I think one thing the Vex has lacked this entire time is sort of like a name and a face that's like a villain. You know, think of any of the other races. We have our really significant characters from those races, both hero and villain, and here we have who from the Vex? You know, Kuria, Blade Transform, Ashmir, that's it. Like, it's, you know, we need some real characters here, and I think Maya Sundaresh could be that character.
Before, we're seeing new behavior from the Vex. Who is behind this, but also what are they doing and to what end?
I saw that. Who is behind this? What are they doing and to what end? Yes, that is the central question of most things. All right, this is episode 2.
Revenant is going to be very Fallen theme.
The Fallen don't have a home planet anymore. Reese has been gone for a long time, and they've been looking for a new home across the galaxy.
So this is showing like legit cinematics, and this is one of the things that they talked about before, where the idea of having episodes instead of seasons was that they could do more story beats, more cinematics, things like that. So they wouldn't all just be relegated to an expansion or something like that. So this is maybe one example of this. I always thought that this season was maybe mainly about the Scorn, not the Fallen, but as it turns out, it's about both.
Revenant has more dark fantasy themes. It's about slaying vampires with a touch of Splicer mixed in.
The player gets to be a Slayer Baron. We'll learn.
Slayer Baron. That's pretty dope. So here's the Scorn. So we have Scorn armor. The idea is that this season is based around kind of the theme of vampire hunting, and they're about to show some cool stuff with that.
That in Elixni culture, this was a role that was reserved for the most renowned monster hunters.
For that one, we took a really hard lean.
It's Bloodborne armor. They did Bloodborne armor. That's so good. Elixni meets Bloodborne. How could you pull that off? That's fantastic.
Into the vampire hunter fan.
This thing, whatever this thing is, that's awesome. I want that. It's clearly an exotic. So, vampire hunting, risk runner. I don't know.
To see.
We're into
the bat hat. This is like Titan Bloodborne, but I think the other one was a little more on point.
introducing the system called potion crafting. Combat potions boost your artifact directly, then your loot potions, those are going to allow you to have agency over the rewards that you're chasing.
Is this still the helm? I can't tell if this is like a helm zone or if we're like actually going somewhere new for a change. Anyway, potions, that's pretty fun. With Ido as our potion master in terms of build stuff and loot stuff.
What we'd like to do in year 10 is give players more agency in their pursuits. You'll see more experiences where you can kind of decide what you want to do in this next step.
Fikrul is back, and he's got the Echo.
Fikrul. Okay, so this was like the most obviously hinted at thing from the campaign finale. Crow talked about needing to go find where Fikrul is because Fikrul is like the immortal Scorn Lord that just essentially cannot die, and now there was no witness to control any of the Scorn. So he clearly has gotten his hands on an Echo, and that is a problem for obvious reasons.
This is what Fikrul's using to...
I didn't read this stuff. Handle is Fikrul's original staff. The gem has been replaced by the Echo. VFX treatment is new Echo visual language. Kaleidoscopic prism subclass colors should feature something... Echo effects when on screens. This is like some sort of internal Bungie doc that they put in here.
Build his new army of darkness. And he's moved into an awoken watchtower.
He's got like a bat ear thing now. He's got bat ears, so he's our main vampire we have to slay.
Fickrul's Vampire Keep. We took a lot of
Okay, Fickrul's Vampire Keep, in case it wasn't clear enough.
inspiration from horror for that one.
Heresy is about the Hive Pantheon dealing with some new interesting revelations that happen. We want to take the Hive Pantheon and shake up the snow globe. It means that we want to take the existing relationships that we see inside of it and put them through such a stress test that they come out changed.
Okay, so I'm not entirely clear, like, what is even left to shake up besides, they don't mention either of these characters, but Savathun and Xivu Arath. We've killed so many daughters and sons and cousins of the Hive Pantheon at this point. I'm not entirely sure who's even left, but obviously this seems like this would be something that's set up for a big conflict between Savathun and Xivu Arath. Xivu Arath was not in the final shape at all, despite being a devotee of the Witness. There's some lore about how she essentially just like pieced out. And then obviously Season of the Witch was all about making her mortal, so she's now vulnerable. But this doesn't mention any of them by name. It's just more kind of conceptually what's going on.
In Heresy, there's this new eldritch force that's bubbling up to the surface that is opening new doors, creating powerful mysteries, and ultimately they'd lead us back to the Dreadnought.
Okay, so the Dreadnought's coming back. This raises a lot of questions. Is this... The most obvious one is, like, is this a Leviathan situation? We'll talk about it a little more. Let's see what they have to say.
We're going back to the Dreadnought. It's awesome. Some fans might think we've forgotten about the Dreadnought completely, but we're going to give it a whole new purpose.
We want this to be an eldritch, inscrutable fortress of secrets.
The peeling that you'll see on the Dreadnought, the weapons themselves are peeling back to reveal it.
Those are awesome. I love the peeling flesh off bone weapon thing. Okay, the point is like, they're bringing the Dreadnought back, but is it how the Leviathan came back, where it came back, it was covered in egregore, it was for Season of the Haunted, which was there for a year, and then they didn't do anything else with it after that season, and then it went away. The Dreadnought is kind of, one of the most beloved destinations from Destiny 1, but I do wonder if, we've gotten, the raid back from here, and yet is it going to be... This seems like a different level, because I feel like if you're doing the Dreadnought as a patrol space, differently from the stuff they brought back from the raid, then it would be really weird to, like, port all that over, and, like, it is a lot of work. It's not just, like, copying and pasting from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 and then just abandon it after this season, especially given that this is the third Echo. And if we're still doing the whole thing where we remove all of the seasonal content after a year when the next thing hits, then that would be kind of weird. It would be a lot of work to do all that work to bring the Dreadnought here and then just sort of remove it. One thing is not answered by any of this is if for sure that these Echoes are definitely going away over time and going in the content vault like all seasons, or if we're sort of entering a new era where that does not happen. But yeah, there's no answers about that, no answers about exactly how the Dreadnought will be used here.
A new spooky, bony front. Since this
friggin' armor set is so good. I love this so much. We've had a bunch of like Hive armors at this point, but like the Admiral Pauldrons, that's so
release deals with kind of two big themes. We have two armor.
There's Eris armor. That's like legitimately good Eris armor. They talked about like the moon armor kind of being Eris-ish, but like this is way better than that, obviously.
We've had some armor.
Look at that fingerprint hood. Oh, that's so good. I love that.
Sets that are kind of in the Eris theme in the past, but this is like straight up, I'm Eris's squad. And then the Hive ship navigator armor set explores like, what if we were driving the ship? What if we were the navigators?
Wait a minute. I didn't catch this last time. Okay. So what if we were driving the ship? What if we were the navigators? Okay. Let's keep that in mind as we move on here.
If you really like Shattered Realm, if you really liked the Coil, you're going to love this new Dreadnought activity. With every episode, there are a ton of interesting twists and turns that I don't think anybody's really going to suspect. We haven't seen anything like this in Destiny before, and I'm excited to get after it.
Okay, so this is the big, quote-unquote big thing. This is what they've revealed for after the episodes, which is Codename Frontiers. As you can see, this is something in Destiny 2. There is a giant Destiny 2 logo there, which chat seems to have missed when we did this live. They do not say anything about it other than it's coming in 2025, which is right here. Okay, so this to me does not sound like an expansion. This isn't to say that they're stopping Destiny expansions, but when they give us expansions, they don't do code name whatever. They just tell us what the expansion name is, even if it is years away, which we saw with the final shape. Lightfall, and then that became the final shape. You know what I mean? So they don't usually do that. And then Frontiers does not, again, sound like the name of an expansion. It sounds like the name of a concept. And what I believe this is the reveal of the next arc of Destiny, which will be about exploration and finding new places. And yes, I do believe that the idea is that we will leave the solar system. What I did not catch the first time around was about what if we were to navigate the the dreadnought and drive it. So that may be the answer, that we are able to spool up the dreadnought and take it out of the system, because we do not currently have that tech ourselves, I'm guessing. I don't think. I'm pretty sure we don't. Granted, all of these other races do, because they got here eventually, but this might be the idea that we take the dreadnought as kind of our main means of transportation out of the system. That is the last episode before this new era starts. So if we're talking about taking over the dreadnought, driving the dreadnought, maybe that is kind of the impetus for the story move to, okay, well, we're going to take this giant space trapezoid and, go to other places. There are obviously a number of Destiny lore places that we could visit. Most of them have to do with the other races, the Vex homeworlds, the ruins of Torvado, the ruins of Reese. What else am I forgetting? I don't know. There's a lot. Hive homeworld. Like there's a whole bunch of these that you could, end up visiting, or just entirely brand new places. And we're just, frankly, we're running out of places in our own solar system at this point, unless you want to be like, oh, now we're going to go to, old Florida on Earth, or like, you know what I mean? Like we're sort of running low on planets and zones that would be interesting within our own world. So I think that's what this is. This is not to say that there are not going to be more expansions. Like there definitely could be. I don't think there's going to be one a year from now, even just based on the fact that our schedules are now essentially 18 months for expansions. Like expansions don't come out within a year anymore. That's just not how it works. They're too big, too expansive. And then I saw some people being like, oh, no sequel in 2025. It's like, bro, there's never going to be a sequel. There was a 0% chance there was going to be a sequel. Like they are in Destiny 2. They've said this repeatedly, that Destiny 2 specifically will continue on past the final shape into new, arcs and content. And as I've said, I do not think we would get a fully new Destiny 3 until the next console generation, which I don't think into the next console generation, which I do not think would be maybe 3, 4, 5 years from now. Like we still have a lot of time here. So I do think Destiny is going to try and start something that's sort of an intermediate journey in between games. And like, this is all, of course, assuming Bungie in its current form survives, 5 more years to make this, sort of follow-up game. But I think what's being revealed here is sort of the journey arc for the next period of Destiny, rather than like, this is the Frontier expansion or something. Although, like, I have to believe they are going to keep making expansions to a certain extent, because like you have to sell the big thing every year. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna pay $12 for this episode. Like they need the big $100 thing they can sell at the beginning of the year, and without an expansion you don't have that. So really interesting stuff here. I think the episodes look great. I was really excited to see how those looked. I thought they looked very interesting. It's very rare to see them previewed so specifically ahead of time. I guess they can do that because they're broken up in terms of story, but I don't know if I want to keep seeing episodes like forever broken up in terms of story. I kind of would like to see connecting plot lines come back, but I get sort of in this in-between time between Final Shape and Frontiers that could be appropriate. And then I don't know if we'll hear anything else about Frontiers for a very long time, but it's something we can think about. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.